All right, today we are pulling back the curtain on the invisible engine that's powering modern AI search. It's a technology that is completely changing how we find information, and you're probably using it every single day without even realizing it. So let's dive in.
You know the feeling, right? Sometimes you'll ask an AI a super complicated question, and it comes back with an answer that is so good it's almost spooky. It's like it read your mind. But then, other times, you ask for something simple, and it just goes way off the rails into left field. Well, it turns out there's a single reason for both of those experiences, and it's all part of the same incredibly powerful system.
The biggest reason for this is that the way we search has totally changed. I mean, think about it. We went from typing in, 3 or 4 keywords to asking these long, detailed conversational questions. We're talking 70, sometimes 80 words long. A classic search engine just isn't built for that. It would have no idea what to do. So how are these new AI systems pulling it off?
Well, they do it with a kind of secret weapon. It's this incredibly powerful process happening completely behind the scenes, and it's designed specifically to unpack these massive, complicated questions and give you back one single coherent answer. This is probably the best way to think about it. Old school search was like asking a librarian to go find one specific book on a shelf. Simple. AI search, well, that's like hiring an entire team of PhD researchers. You give them a topic and they go out, hit dozens of sources, and come back to you with a custom report written just for you from scratch.
So what do we call this incredible new process? It's called query fanout. And honestly, it might be one of the biggest changes in search technology that most people have never, ever heard of.
And here's the key idea, the whole magic trick. The AI doesn't just take your one big question and search for that. No, that's not what happens. Instead, it fans it out. It shatters your question into tons of smaller, more focused sub-questions so it can build a really complete picture of what you need before it even starts to formulate an answer.
It all happens in 4 basic steps. First, it deconstructs your question, breaking it into its most important parts. Then, it expands on those, generating maybe dozens, sometimes even hundreds of related questions. After that, it fires all of those searches off at the exact same time, in parallel. And finally, it takes all of those little pieces of information and synthesizes them, stitching them together into the single, detailed answer that you see. But here's the thing. This fan-out process doesn't happen for every single search. If you ask something simple, a straight-up fact like, "What's the capital of Germany?" the system just grabs that one answer from its database. Easy. No fan-out needed. But the second you ask something more subjective, like, "What are the best headphones for runners?" that's when it kicks into high gear. The system starts fanning out queries to explore all those different ideas you mentioned: battery life, comfort, water resistance, and even some you didn't think to ask about. And don't think for a second this is just a Google thing. Absolutely not. Every single major player is using some version of this. They just give it different names. Google calls it thematic search. Microsoft has its orchestrator. Perplexity talks about releasing a swarm of queries. The point is, query fanout isn't a niche feature anymore. It's the new industry standard. It's how AI search works. Okay, so the process itself is already incredibly powerful. But here is where it gets really interesting, maybe even a little bit weird. This whole fan-out process, it isn't generic. It's personalized. It's tailored specifically to you. And that's why it can sometimes feel like the AI is literally reading your mind. To make it personal, the system is basically brainstorming for you. It's not just searching for the words you typed, it's generating different ways of phrasing your question, it's guessing at what your next follow-up question might be, it's looking at broader and more specific versions, it's even exploring things that are only implied by what you asked. The AI is actively trying to figure out your true, complete intent. But, and this is a huge but, here's the twist in the story. This incredible system, the one that is designed to understand us better than ever, also creates brand new ways for it to get us completely, spectacularly wrong. The whole problem comes down to this difference between your explicit intent, that's what you're asking for in this exact moment, and your latent intent, which is what the AI thinks you want based on your entire search history. So let's say you're a marathon runner, but you just got injured. You search for low-impact cardio. That's your explicit intent. But the AI looks at your history and all it sees is marathon runner, marathon runner, marathon runner. That's the latent intent it has for you. And that mismatch between who you are now and who the AI thinks you are, that leads to something called semantic drift. It's a fancy name for a simple concept. It's what happens when your search starts to slowly wander off course, pulled in a different direction by the gravity of your past searches. So, here's a perfect example.
Imagine you search for EV charging infrastructure. You want to know where the chargers are. But the AI, trying to be helpful, finds a related idea: supply chain resilience. Okay, that in turn leads it to search for battery manufacturing. And before you know it, the final answer you get is a deep dive on battery production in China. I mean, yeah, it's technically related, but it is miles away from the practical question you actually asked. And this kind of drift can have really serious consequences. As Lazarina Stoy, one of the authors we're drawing from, points out, this intense level of personalization can accidentally trap us in our own little filter bubbles. If the system only learns our patterns and preferences, the subqueries it generates might start to only reflect our existing beliefs, which could seriously limit our exposure to different ideas and opinions. So, okay, this is all really interesting tech, but what does it actually mean for us? For anyone who runs a business, creates content, or just wants to find things online, this whole new engine humming away under the hood of search, it completely changes the rules of the game.
First off, the old playbook is basically broken. Worrying about your keyword ranking is almost pointless when every single search result is personalized. The new world is all about creating atomic content. Think small, individual, easy-to-grab facts that an AI can pull from. The goal isn't just to get a link anymore, it's to get a citation. Being the source for an AI's answer is the new gold standard for visibility. And the only way to do that is to build real authority on a topic and structure your content with super clear definitions so you can help the AI avoid that semantic drift we were talking about. All of this leaves us with one last, really important question to think about. As our search engines stop being simple lookup tools and start becoming these dynamic conversational partners, we have to ask ourselves, when we start a conversation with an AI, who or what is really deciding where that conversation is going to end?